কথা মানিলে আগে বাড়ে ঈশ্বর লাগা কথা না মানিলে दूसरा কাম বারে বি দুঃখ পায় আর তাই খানকে একটা কনসিকুয়েন্স দিয়া তো 40 days ইজিপ্ট para কানান দিয়ে যাবলে 40 days to 40 years হই যাইছে এটু তো কনসিকুয়েন্স আছে ঈশ্বর তো ইসরায়েলাইজ কাম কারণে তো হইলিবি তা খান তো দুঃখ পাইছে কিলে কইলে that was the consequence. Now Nagas have been fighting for our right for over 7.5 decades, and only God knows how many more years to go. Nagas could have achieved a dream in 10 or 20 years ago, but God could be waiting for Nagas to unite. Poila para amakan solution to pai jabo thakise ola. Hoilibi isor ekta rukhi ase neki apuni kan ekta puribi. Therefore we must turn to God and seek His face. Until we are right with God, we cannot be right with one another. Isor logot tik na hoa takto amakan ekjon logote tik na hobode. Hats off to FNR, led by Reverend Dr. Wati Iyer. We have come a long way. And congratulations to the organizing committee of this program. Ito raga program karne bi amakan aji manu bishi ahikana ekta hoi jaise de. Now, even if it was delayed due to disobedience of the Israelites, God fulfilled their plan. Deri hoile bi ta khanaga akha to ani dise de fulfill hoise. What Nagas can learn from the political history of the Israelites? Number 1, the way to promised land is not always easy, but it's worth it. Number 2, God will make a way where there seems to be no way. Number 3, God will lead us day and night. Number 4, God fights on behalf of His people. Number 5, God provides in miraculous ways. Number 6, sin will always take us farther than we want to go. Number 7, we may feel forgotten and left on our own, but God has not forsaken us. Number 8, and the last one, the hardest struggles we face have the greatest potential to teach us patience and endurance. May the Lord fulfill His plan for the Nagas sooner than expected. God bless everyone.
Praise the Lord.
Hallelujah.
Naga mano aji Kütsapo pra milaya se, especially revolutionists. Naga mano sovereignty garni khara kura khan babda alak alak kurigina nijenje rasta jadu aji Kütsapo ti the first is fired, nothing as former speaker can quantish now. 60-40, yeti kotha kurina government of India logo sister kura. Ito piche diye bhavna alag alag kurigena bhangne jado aji through initiative of FNR or Shisha Hoho. Kanbra, sure. La kotha pra yeti pra milaya se. Koise, amar Naga, ami Kambra se de village chief. Nagaland ki organization beshi hoise. Na milagina. Ami NTC hobo, ami CNTC hobo, ami ENPO hobo, even civil society bi, ami Atimiu union hobo, banga. Kintu Nagaland GB Federation, Gambra Khan, Bosti Rukha Khan, Pakla Khan to no. Naga manu Kambra to ektahi thakibo. Koigena? Especially Nagas of Nagaland to ektahi asade. Itubra judo kamrakan bosti rukha manu. Apnar bosti rukha thanto. Oh, Amar Naga manu. Ajje. Kütsapo pra. Shisha Hoho. So underground, overground, I can ishor logo, map mangina milai logo. Inaga khobor hunya to, bosti de kamrakan to bohibo paranai. Yes, it ase. Oigena, amagan pi man bura holebi. Kamrakan to we are not a paid servant, huh? We have been appointed by the government, but we are not a paid servant. Nam Hyase. Lorho, Burko Libi, Pikur Burgina, Simotata, Katigana Kütsapo, Jayagana Naga, Milaja Amagan Amagan Partana Raki Dibo, Aroso Manu Naga, revolutionist country, so by Ekta Burgina. Naga manu fasla kuri lobo. Iniga hunya tu bishi kushi paise. Etu karni ami request ko especially our revolutionist party kan. This is the right time. Ki the right time ase harvest globally time thaki plan seedling halibole kam time thaki etu ani bostu mona ase harvest olop dero korle sal bhor book hobo de book lagibo de etu karni ki hoilebi time ase etu karni hoy our demand Naga demand is sovereignty. We will not compromise. But time ekta rest krubole time bi bisar sabina. In this condition, eta ki kurbo aman? Shall we go back to jungle? Nohobode. Or keep parbo itu loigena. Government of India koya se. Whatever unresolved ase democratically process kurbo de. Peacefully, not with gun, but through peace. Democratically kotha kuri jabo de. Inika ami hunya to apnagan biye to kurigena government of India logo negotiate kurigena. I said. Aro, kinto etia publican, ki pabo itu loi kina aro, olok takat pernah logo deh. Ini ka gur kena, aketi proses kuri jabo garni, ekta pernah, kiba ekta tu kuri logo na ki ini ka. Publican tu itu babna sade, bosti manu kan tu, abar bosti ke kamra kan tu itu babna se itu garni. Aji milai ini ka ishor kotabra milatu itu hi best of the best. Itu karena amar kamrakan sob laga barthana tu apnagan opor dia se aji itu pin no rile harvest tu in time tu no kurile amagan bukpura muri jabo de nagaman. Thank you.
Highest respect to all the ladies and gentlemen on the dais. Naga national workers, honorable Naga brothers and sisters. I believe every single person sitting here are sitting with responsibilities in your own ways. All the earlier speakers have said what needs to be said. And as also mentioned, the divine revelation of Shisha Hoho speaks all. I just want to change my thoughts into a little different perspective from what we've been saying all these years. Naga Manu unite again, reconcile again. Every Naga Nation workers talk about reconciliation and unity. After all, if there is killing, they are the one to be doing the killing. If there is dying, they are the one who will be dying. But the worst of all, in between the Naga public, is the scapegoat, who will be caught in the crossfire. So how serious you are that you're really talking about unity and reconciliation. But I want to say, based on my own experience, American human rights group come to NCM from Nakurabara, American Suru. After emergency was declared all over India, Shillong Accord was imposed on the Naga people. And the Naga people were hunted like animals. Not in the jungles, but in the towns, in the villages. Pastors, reverends, school teachers, village chairmen, gamburas, they were the first target of Indian army. At that point in time, just here at the Bible Hill, Phek Bible Hill, Duita Chokra, class 7 students, since the only road coming down to Phek town crosses through the Assam Phokien, they were beaten black and white, unconscious, made unconscious, cigarettes kindly shot into their nose and mouth. 2 students. For what? For talking English while crossing Assam Phokien. And that is why Chakhesang Students Union have fought tooth and nail to remove the Assam Phokien from Phek Bible Hill, which was also occupied. Even now it is called Bible Hill. Okay, kami ja yele dikibo. Reverend Palasa Teke, he was buried alive. Matin Chia Kuntigina Tala Mission Church to Assam Phokien Banana. This morning, so we crossed. When we go back, so we crossed. This is just only one story, but that was the time when we said the Naga story must be told to the Naga people. Women in Kohima town from Krome village were being raped while going to the paddy fields. A young beauty queen in Makury was raped by 2 captains, 1 captain and 1 major, in front of her parents at their cities. The next day she committed suicide. Saying it's meaningless to live in this world when you can be treated like this. Your own parents cannot defend you. She went to the river, committed suicide. In that situation, the rest of the world need to know, especially Indian public need to know. Finally, after so many years, when in 1997 ceasefire came, we talked among ourselves, but just a handful of people, just a small group of people. That we will tell the world how government of India is treating Nagas. Because no journalists were allowed to come to Nagaland. No reporters were allowed to write about what the Indian Army is doing in Nagaland. Newspapers were banned in Nagaland. The first newspaper called Citizen's Voice, weekly newspaper, which published about how Naga villages banned by Nagaland government only, because they have to follow the dictate of the government of India. So, horrors of Indian Army's atrocities. We have filed cases in the Guwahati High Court, in the DC courts, DC courts, wherever it is of the Indian Army. In the midst of this ceasefire came, hope for a peaceful solution came. By then, Nagas were already divided. NCN was formed in 1980. An anti-Shillong of NNC was formed. Never, life went on under the bullets of Indian Army, the boots of Indian Army, and most of all, after Nagas split into NSCN and NNC. So when ceasefire came, we thought we must make the most of this. This was long before FNR was formed. And so when ceasefire came in 1997, we were able to go to the earlier Government of India. So in 1998, when we went to the United Nations to speak about the sufferings of the Naga people, coincidentally, Isaac and Moiva came to Geneva to renew the ceasefire agreement on July 3rd. General Tenosile also came to Geneva on his own to meet people, and perhaps, I don't know, with the hope to meet Isaac. But I happened to meet all three of them. Opportunity to meet. Rasta de lo corona pare. Tunda sa ni ko da sa ta jawan. Ko da sa attention sa ta. I said, my hotel is free for you. So July 30, 2 days. They met after 30 years. In 1960, under the leadership and Tenosile, Nagas went to China because the first talks were going to bound to, because Indira Gandhi says that nothing doing anything under the sovereignty. Nagas knew nothing is coming. So they took Naga soldiers. Tenosile was the armed commander, then leader. Man says, Nagas, you become communist. More than arms and ammunition, more than you can carry. If you want us to become communist, we will not take in the. And then they come those stories after 30 years. After they went 1968, they came back. They more proceeded to East Pakistan, they present Bangladesh. They were this war. They were jailed in Dhaka. They were in eastern Nagaland, so Burma, now Myanmar, the military term. After 30 years, sharing their stories, how they struggled to Burma, bullets, and how many people died on the way, how many were drowned in Chingun River, chattering like children. Face on the first day. I told them, please come back to NNC. This is the Naga body, where the Naga movement started. We must come back to NNC. I said, Moiva said, yes, who doesn't to NNC? We all love NNC. But because of circumstances, We have registered our membership in UNPO. We have signed in there as NSA. In the Kakimakan for some time. Maybe the right God will enable us to come back to NSA. That was the reply. Let us work together again. China. Let us work now, there's peace. Struggle like before. But they could not come to terms. On 31st July, Tennessee walked over to the Nations UN. I said, Uncle, how did it go? With his head bowed down. If I join them, what will I tell my people? What will I tell my Angami friends and Chakhesangs, my supporters? The Naga public had enslaved him. He's a leader, he's a general. But he could not take decision for what he thought was right. Today, even now, that situation is exactly the same. If there are 20 or 24 factions, it is the Naga public who has created. Because you want your own heroes. You have your own agendas. You want to settle it with your enemies or your opponents through the national worker leaders. I'm sure today, as they look at each other, if they're working together, fighting together, crawling in the jungles of Burma, I'm sure in their heart of heart, how they'll be loving each other. Rempuni is known for baptizing more than 100 persons in Burma in one day. Such achievements are rarely told or even heard. Slowly by slowly, all our leaders are going away. But the arrogance of the Naga public is becoming stronger and stronger. Today, when I hear at my former speakers, it's frightening. It's frightening. They are able to talk very big things. They are able to say brave words. The situation goes back to square. People can walk their talk. For them, who am I to question the integrity of the Naga public? I'm also responsible in many ways because I hate some of the faction leaders. I love some of the faction leaders for my own. That's why my perspective, as it says in the morning, every individual take a moment of reflection. The message I wanted to share today. I did not want to come. I'm so fed up. I've worked since its formation. But there are certain limits to every. But human, we don't want to see the end. Using greener pastures. And that is where the fate and the future of people who can develop and be a better person. Sometimes. In short, Mekan national leaders can keep yourself, tahan kaya blame na kurabi. Nijir kaya blame kurabi. If you want them to unite, you stop supporting them. They will unite. But they want to Nikki, whatever happened today. You think Sama when I start met after 30 years in Chiang Mai, wife is here. I was asked by Rawati to go and facilitate. The moment they started shouting, whatever, until Easter, to the ground in the court, in between them. We can't stop the people. Terribly. Have their hearts in front of her husband. You are wrong. Stop it from there. How many women, mothers, or sisters we talk and shout and sing, but in action, how many of us are in the extra mile? We're talking about Naga situation, solution, sovereignty. I tell you, NC was formed to remain whatever strong, saying that Piso is taking the Naga story to the United Nations and will be independent. So we waited for 30 years for Piso to go to UN from the London. He has gone a couple of times. After the ceasefire, from 1998 as I 2019, I was also able to go to the UN platforms, including the human and other. But knowing fully well that Nagas are right, they're even afraid to entertain. The UN was a seminar. Governments who have entered into agreement, struggling people, indigenous people like Nagas. And I was asked to the Naga story. What kind of going through with the government of India? 9 point themselves backed out. And I say, only thing is the inner line regulation. Clause is the so-called, or 7 is the so-called, which is agreed back. We're making chutney out of those provisions. After that, the sign again, Shillong, India never honored, even though in honored. Not a single agreement government of India has honored. And they've signed another ceasefire with the NSCN. I told the UN, if you want to find that peace come to people in Northeast, and especially Nagas, please monitor what government of India is signing with the Naga people. They are going to backtrack even on this ceasefire agreement. Now we are talking about framework agreement, which is 26 years now. Agreed position, I don't know, for some, oh, okay, sorry, but you asked me to come, stop me to speak. That's the problem. Anyway, situation is, and they say the option is to implement the Krome agreement. But government of India has difficulties. So you must appreciate government of India's difficulties. So I replied, individual capacity to the government representative. Remember, gentlemen, in the past, government of India's difficulties, Nagas are going through a stage where every single Naga is waiting for the opportunity to call the others a traitor or a betrayer. So where do you think Naga leaders can go? Understand our difficulties as well.
Thank you. Amikhan tour de Thagava, Eastern country the power artificial boundary power gune Thagava Natiko, Gona Pabna protection. In the time they are going to thanks, Yade, respect Puri Taga, chairperson Balina, Amikhan. Idu FN Aro Shisha Hoho Khan. Political groups like leaders kan aro ya dikiman chun ami bi naga ase naga chamokra chagati chabo gona biswas pra isor ke saina ase sob ke ami respect de ase aro ami khan nagas from Myanmar eastern Nagaland nambra apni khan sob ke bi salam janai de ase ami khan hotai bhabna gore ami khan eastern debi ami khan eastern iniga ami khan Naga manu jama guna bo barli kiman phal guna alak chakra guri thakilibe alak bhabna guri thakilibe ineka eki logode miligina action laga bhabna express guru parigina action laga bhabna go parigina action encourage guru parigina ina jama guru parli kiman phal guni to bhabna guri thake kintu ami khan laga eastern region jito ami khan sob janya nisna itu situation bi bia ase situation be aboard American economically be si weak ase education be gomdi ase bhabna rawi na bungje bhabna bungji ne thakili be kwan sna economically weak ho American jama grow na pore gather grow na pore ite American present situation sai si gole do American jol ek pack kinole 15 to 20 days hajra grow lage petrol 1 liter kinole 2 to 3 days hajra gole petrol 1 liter kino para laga sindi na tukte ase itwa Amikhan dadina jamok ro na parliba achi yate Amikhan Naga mano west Naga khan jamok ro ase bawra Amikhan Eastern Naga Students Association go itu Amikhan Nagas of Myanmar note jamok ri da ase aina milai ase kuni janai de ase amilaga nam doile tu Atimiu ase aro moi president Eastern Naga Students Association go in short mohan insa bone go ina thakibo One is American Forum for Naga Reconciliation, or Naga Shisha Ho can give it sit and yapat, sit thanks, American Naga Ranmide. Ite American former speakers can buy American leader can buy Kiko Olas, soft voice, Kisabi, Koini, Dikashi, encouragement Naga Street, Hagiolagabi, soft American encourage Kushe, American Nagas of Myanmar La Nambra. Shakal face will be dikhai dibo awas ekta olive olai dibo kane itu Amikhan Eastern Naga jaga itu occupied Nagaland itu great leader Papa is a aha time de government India logote chakra laira kurna Amikhan Myanmar side te aha time de tai tate peradan Lukhangi Gushe, Ami Laga Namdu, Pizo Jati Laga, Tribe La Namdu, Amikhan, Eastern Naga Hange, Poladu, Burma Khanba, Pizo Naga, Kuna, Mati Taxi Gushe. Toina, Wina, Amikhan Naga Hobo, Kuna, Ekta Nation Hobo, Ekta Jati Hobo, Kuna, One People Hobo, Kuna, Ina Kuri, Kurina, Baba, Pizo Laga, Time Braina, Olaishe. Ite to Amikhan sai jai shugile to Amikhan sal kiman faction bi iman bishi political group bi iman kya ase bishwas ase milibo kana Amikhan once na Amikhan Naga to ekta hobo Naga to nation ekta ajida pi Nagala street to na chari kana Naga laga nationhood to amikhan na charna achitakpi itu thurine rukita gise kindu amikhan pogai bhai machote dadi eastern libi kila papra sinachne kilaga atmaura sinachne kilaga aitara sinachne amikhan tatibi namila namili huikina achitakpi amikhan bloodshed huine tati hoa thagia ase kindu Bishwas ase amikhan nagamano sok milaigena isor la nam loina kam kurele to amikhan acting ekta rasta dia niwo pariwo kone bishwas ase amikhan biship jagate saine jademde amikhan nagamano kiman dangor thakise kiman tak thakise ba amikhan action bauri ja ase amikhan hunya sabte janya sabte kile political group man bisuse alak bhavna de alak tok jademde amikhan saina ahademde amikhan Nagas of Myanmar Eastern Naga khamdu framework agreement bi dikhana agreed position bi dikhana reconciliation bi amikhan lana man hunya nai kindu amikhan biswas ase poti Naga karni kam kure ase tati amikhan Eastern Naga andi milai ase kwado amikhan biswas kure ase poti Naga karni ake jawala ase tati amikhan Naga kan bi milai ase kindu biswas ase kile amikhan Eastern jaga de Nagas of Myanmar ko bai Nagaland Naga mati iman tangor thakya tu Naga manu iman bisi thakya tu itu bi Naga manui ase itu milaine thakya brai amikhan Naga manu kam kurine jabo pare ase itu milaine thakya brai manu bi amikhan ge respect kurine thakya ase amikhan laga tok bi amikhan laga government of India hobi government of Myanmar hobi itu kotha koramde amikhan bi thakya bra itu bai kotha koro pare ase ni ki kuna amikhan na biswas itu ase holibi achi laga time de saine jamde amikhan kunba elders kan ode dile do first amikhan ipale obo second step de amikhan eastern de abo do ko second step to amikhan obo do 근데 시박 ina onse kindu apni khan ina koi thakilbi itia ami laga stage amikhan la stage pa ki wa asile do naga du kiman ta kase kundu ta kase gobi pauri ja ase apni khan ba korean isna apni khan ba kile nijor baja nijor jati nijor busti manuki do naga la history do pass kuri dane itu tu ekta leader laga tangor baca asni ki koina kotha bole Kroma tu kiman tangor ase timawor pra chutuna tangor ase oimara chutuna tangor ase Kroma tu ina to mon si chogum baja amikhan Eastern Naga tu tinda state Manipur Nagaland Arunachal kone border share kone thakya itu tu baba ama khan babi kisa amikhan Eastern Naga machote Naga political movement start korna Naga political movement nimita amikhan tati man manu morshu ka du kisa du sobki koine dikhana ni itu bhabi thake oi backward ko amikhan backward ase backward ase formala education na lubi guse amikhan Naga revolutionary group kan ba formala ka development na lubi guse formala kotha na kubi guse bridge panawot yana road panawot yana school panawot yana July dise bhangai dise amikhan education do parane amikhan development bo parane amikhan itu political victim asigunde itu bi Naga national movement la victim political movement la victim asigunde itu bi janai dia ase biswas ase achiwa loina amikhan Naga manukhan milina hat thurina kam kurine jabo ya dikiman jun leaders kan aina ase amikhan laga Nagala spirit tu pass kuri kine jawo baja logotibi pass kune jawo 100,000 years chailube Naga ko tu na harai kine apni khan laga baja laga apni khan laga jati laga amikhan laga jati amikhan la baja khan babi Naga ko tu jamine koine jawo kone biswas ase amikhan murilebe amikhan request kwado Nagala right kwado harawo natibi kone itu ekta request for monja ase amikhan Naga kwado na bauri jabite kone ami itu kole kiman political groups kan aina ase kiman civil society kan ase amikhan itya lagya to ne to amikhan peace lagya ase reconciliation lagya ase Naga ekta hole lagya ase itura sob manura unity peace la kotha tu kuise kindu Puntu manuwa ko ase tai nijorbi milao na para tai nijorbi unity aniwo na para peace ho na para bishi thagi ase itura ami khan kitchen ba luina ami khan family ba luina ami khan naga manu to ekta hoine chaile bhal political group khan national workers khan ekta aim hi ekta call hi rakhina naga civil societies khan ekta awaz si othaina ami khan milaine jaisu bole to ami khan la aim ami khan la bhavna to pungjoni ki kuna biswas ase ami khan bhavna kurile to ami khan Hinduism nation iman dangor Buddhism nation machut iman kumti jati iman chutu mano Nagaland for Christ kona ami khan freedom nation garni fight kora dikhi ase ami khan sob bhavna kuri saw lage kintu biswas ase ami khan laga ishor ami khan raja thagya na bise naga manu laga khan la raja king doile to Jesus Christ ase Juda Buddhism Hinduism nation man ami khan Nagaland nation mangi thaga laga raja doile to Jesus Christ ase kona biswas ase to dade koine thagya nisna ami khan laga raja ami khan laga king to king of kings ase bise lord of lords ase bise to ami khan ni milai kena ami khan ni ekta bhavna kurne chaise bile to ami khan laga ishor wa to sob pari dibo neki kuna ami to bhavna kura sune emandak kura koine chanya ti ase God bless you.
Good afternoon, respected chairperson, religious leaders, Naga national leaders, Naga political leaders, organization leaders, tribe Hohos, NGBF, FNR, prayer warriors of Naga Shisha Hoho, and concerned Naga citizens. I bring my warm greeting from the South Nagas, Manipur, to you all. And I am also indeed honored and privileged to offer my solidarity message on behalf of the Naga people in Manipur in this gathering. At this point of time, the sorry state of the Nagas is that when we talk more about unity, the more we are divided. Therefore, dear Nagas, now is the right time to identify the root factor of division. It's the right time to introspect our wrongdoing and reconcile ourselves. Naga political and historical right. Let us also fall in line with the FNR initiative for reconciliation and keeps the divine revelation revealed by the prayer warriors of the Naga Shisha Hoho and church leaders. Let us also seek God's intervention to bring Naga solution as early as possible, so that our aspiration for a Naga oneness is achieved. The UNC, the United Naga Council, in our capacity, though small, extend our solidarity toward Naga nation building and reconciliation process, and that will be our top priority. And hopefully this gathering will be another positive steps towards Naga reconciliation. Thank you and good night.